guys, gals, and non-binary pals. Welcome to Solving the Friendemic with your hosts, Sabrina,
Kristen,
and Holly.
Happy Pride Month, everybody. Thank you to all of our listeners. And we are going to be talking about an important subject today. We are covering all things self-care. It's important today, tomorrow, yesterday, and every damn day.
So currently, what I'm looking at the moment is Kristen giving Sabrina a wonderful hand massage that I just got. So we're already going on to the self-care. We're hitting the ground running today. But really, we're just laying down because it's self-care. We're not running.
Yes. And part of self-care, I think, is looking back and embracing victories and our high moments. And I want to compliment us today. This is the first episode that we're using our own equipment to record.
What?
Whoa!
It only took 8 episodes. The other 7 were brought to you by Harrison's mics.
Yes.
We love you, Rough Boys. We couldn't be here without you.
Shout out to Rough Boys, coming to you soon.
You guys are bow wow.
Hey. Hey. Yeah. But yeah, we have a victory today. We did this. We had a little bit of help trying to figure it out because we were kind of worried at first, but it worked. It's ours. I really want to bedazzle it so badly.
Bedazzle or vajazzle?
You really don't want that on that.
But did you guys ever see those infomercials?
Yeah.
Specifically vajazzling?
Yeah.
What time were you watching these shows?
It was on.
It's on like YouTube. That's where I've seen them.
It was on like normal TV. It was before 5 p.m. Like I'm talking after school. The bus dropped me off. Now, I don't watch like kids shows. You know, I really like true crime. I have for a long time. So I'd be getting home and watch SVU.
Nice.
And you know, what do people that watch SVU want? They want the vajazzle.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Not the normal infomercials. Not talking about OxyClean.
Dun dun. do.
I love info commercials. I feel like a lot of people do, but no one would talk about it for a long time.
So, do you guys remember the infomercial for When?
No.
W-E-N. When hair care.
No.
Yes.
So, I was in high school and I just graduated. So, I was on my way to college and I was like, what is my first adult purchase going to be?
Oh, God.
When hair care. And so I went into the college dorm bathrooms and I was using When, which honestly, it's not great. I convinced myself it was great.
We're changing it up recently with these summer hours, and we're recording on a weeknight. We are a little wind up, and we're all drinking out of Golden Girl glasses. So if that's not a hell of a Wednesday, what is? Thank you for the hand massage, Kristen.
Isn't it lovely?
It was delightful.
But yeah, you were talking about TV, and that brings us to our question of the day. So what is your favorite dynamic duo from television, media, movies, whatever?
Food.
Oh.
Even though no one said food.
You could just say Bob and Larry.
Oh my gosh.
Who is Bob and Larry? Like SpongeBob and
VeggieTales.
Yeah.
Oh my God, duh.
I mean, I was thinking more like peanut butter and jelly.
Oh, that's right.
But, I mean, VeggieTales, they are quite the dynamic duo. They make a great salad together. Put some vinegar and onions and...
You would cut them?
I mean, not them. Maybe they're cousins. I don't know. I don't know.
Deadly tales, eating our family, and we will wail.
Oh, no.
So, my favorite dynamic duo, Marianne and Wanda.
You mean from the Chicks hit song, Goodbye, Earl?
Goodbye, Earl.
Which I knew off the top of my head.
That's right, you did.
It wasn't like I said this before at all. Insert gasp.
Dun, dun, dun.
So, in full transparency, I was giving Sabrina a hand massage, and I leaned a little bit too much forward, and she had her wine glass there, and I knocked it all over. So we have done this before, and I feel like that's just going to be a thing we do. And I just want to be honest with you, I done goofed. And so, yes. But anyways, Marianne and Wanda, I want friends who will be my ride or die, who will kill for me, who will poison an evil man with black-eyed peas and light a cops. And then, once everything has settled, open up a jam store on the side of the road where they sell ham? ?
They sell ham?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought they sold jam.
And ham.
Ham. Yeah.
Because ham is their jam.
Yeah. Oh. The drop in Earl, whatever the
Goodbye, Earl.
Goodbye, Earl. I think I couldn't remember the title of it. The drop in that song is ridiculously good. Like
Let's do it.
Earl had to die. Na 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 na. Goodbye, Earl.
Those black-eyed peas.
Like it's such a good drop.
But yes, I love Marianne and Wanda. It literally says, and they were the best of friends.
That's right.
So, yeah, that's my dynamic duo. What about you, Holly?
Yeah, so mine, lately, Philip and I have been watching a bunch of Stranger Things. It's my favorite show. I'm so excited about season 4. It's so good. Go watch it. But my favorite dynamic duo is Steve and Dustin, who are just unlikely friends, and they kind of find each other in one of the seasons, and then it just continues from there. Like, they have their own subplot. It's a great bromance. It's amazing. Steve is like this drop dead gorgeous, popular boy, and Dustin, the cool suave boy with the nice hair, and Dustin is the nerd that, is an AV club, and they become like great friends and fight monsters together, and I love it. It's such a good dynamic.
From the babysitter to best of friends.
That's right. So that would be mine.
Yeah. I like how we all unintentionally picked friendship duos. We didn't go with the food. We didn't go with, I don't know, just random things. But I love how we inadvertently were like,
Yeah.
because for me, it is Daria Morgendorffer and Jane Lane from the hit show Daria, which used to be on the N and maybe on MTV. I don't know. Not MTV. MTV? What was Beavis and Butthead on? Adult Swim? So Daria started on that.
Adult Swim, yeah.
She got her own TV show from that. So go Daria. But I love that show and specifically that duo because Daria and Jane have this outlook on life that they don't give a shit what other people think. And I find that to be simply iconic. And not just in a like, oh, they can give no Fs, but I think they practice very good self-care. And I think they live life in a way that's very authentic. And also they're hilarious as heck. And they're just really, to their core, good people. Now, there were some questionable choices that I don't agree with, Daria, but you know what? We live life to learn because if we knew everything in the world, life would be very boring.
Tell us your favorite dynamic duos, whether it be peanut butter jelly, whether it be like food combinations, whether it be actual like couples, or whether it be fictional. Just plug it in.
Or you and your dog.
Yeah, you and your dog could be the best dynamic duo. Although arguably, I think we all have very awesome dynamic duos. You and Phoebe, Holly.
Yeah, Phoebe.
I mean, you and all of your pets. I mean,
hell yeah. Show us your dogs.
yes, and show us your dogs always.
Tell your dog we say hi. Tell your cats we say hi. Tell your iguana we say hi. Tell all of your animals we say hi.
That's right. Yep.
Iguanas scare me.
My mom used to have one named Icky. She would take him for walks.
I mean, she looks like someone that.
What does that mean?
I mean, she
Please
just
describe for me.
I mean, based on what you told me,
what that means.
your mom is very cool.
Okay.
Let's talk about actual self-care and
Yes.
the importance of it.
Yeah, I think a good springboard to that is, why does it matter? What's the point of us even talking about it?
Self-care helps your body rest and your mind rest. It helps you stop and get perspective on things. It helps you be a better person, in my opinion. I think it helps you with friendship, which I know is the part of our podcast. We're talking about, how to cultivate adult relationships and how they're hard. I think that people who don't do any self-care, most of the time, and this isn't all the time, I'll speak for myself on this one, I get so tied into being overproductive all the time that I don't stop and hang out with friends, or I don't stop and take time for myself. So then when I hang out with friends and I'm working too much,
You're completely depleted.
yeah, I'm completely depleted. So if I don't stop and do some self-care, then I'm not a great friend. I don't do well at my job. All those things, they're all tied together. Self-care is the middle of it, or should be a part of it somewhere.
So I'm going to bounce off of you. I am very much work driven, and I don't just leave my work at work. I bring a lot of it home with me. I'm very much an empath, so I do take on a lot emotionally as well. And so when I need to take a moment for self-care, it's often because the way that I've been compartmentalizing my own needs and the needs of others, there's no, like, they're blending together and I can't separate it anymore. And so I have to take that time to almost like deal with my own stuff before like I go back and take on more and be emotionally there for other people. And you know, as someone who deals with anxiety, who deals with depression at times, you know, I almost have to be on top of it or else I just sink too far. And climbing out of that hole becomes so much harder when I've neglected myself for so long. And, you know, being married, being a friend, you know, I do have to show up for others. Like, I can't just not. And so I have really started trying to make sure that I'm implementing healthy habits. And, you know, Sabrina has mentioned this before, but self-care looks very different for everyone. There's no set way that you can do it, but obviously there are things that you can enjoy together. Like, for instance, I love getting pedicures with friends, you know, taking care of my feet. I'm on my feet literally all day. And so that is one thing that I really enjoy doing to pamper myself, to make me feel better. And it's also good for my health too. Like, there's a lot of benefits to that, but making sure that, you know, I'm almost leveling off the top of the flour. You know, when you bake, you measure it and it says level it. Kind of doing that before I take on more.
Queen of metaphors.
Queen of metaphors.
You are so good at metaphors.
Yes. Thank you. It's because my vocabulary isn't as eloquent as yours. So I have to go around the elbow to make sure I explain things.
Please excuse Holly. I tried to poison her earlier.
No, wait. No, not all the way. I also
all the way.
No. I mean, that's not where my cough is coming from. Is what I mean.
Just mostly dead.
No.
Oh, another good dynamic duo. Inigo and the giant.
Andre the Giant. And,
Andre, yes, his name's
I don't know if his name is that in the
Princess Bride. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. But they're great though. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Mandy Patinkin and Andre the Giant.
Yes.
They're good. No, I have some type of cold variation of whatever it is going on in me. And then
It's not Andre the Giant syndrome.
no, that would be cool though. That would be really cool. I'm already too tall though, in many ways. Like 5'10".
That's beautiful.
And I tower over many people.
You tower over men. You tower over them. You conquer.
Yeah. Sorry.
They made a movie for you on Netflix. It's called Tall Girl.
Tall girl.
You haven't
Cool.
seen it?
No.
It's cringy as fuck.
So bad.
How tall is the main person? Or are they all different?
Is she 6 feet?
Yeah, she's
Oh,
over
okay.
6 feet.
Wow, that's cool.
I mean,
She's a tall girl.
She's a beautiful person.
Oh, yeah.
The movie's just shit.
Yeah, it sounds like a weird thing to talk about.
Well, I mean, there's like real topics in that is discussed, but it's just like so teeny bopper that it just like reeks pubescent hormones.
Here's your 2-second recap.
Okay.
Upcoming spoilers for Tall Girl on Netflix. Have you ever felt a little different? Well, coming to a television in your living room near you. Come, unshowered, with no bra, and enjoy a beautiful retelling of the same fucking story over and over. Girl, quirky, tall. Boy, hot, suave, tall. Boy with mean girl. Tall girl, flirty, too mean. Tall Tall girl has beef with mean girl. Flirty. Mean short girl. Flirty with tall boy. Tall girl best friend in love with tall girl. Whoa! Tall girl's best friend, basically Ducky from Pretty in Pink. Or is it 16 Candles?
It's Pretty in Pink.
That's what I thought. Tall girl, devastated. Tall boy, tall girl do not work out. Best friend has step stool. Best friend kiss tall girl.
The end.
Oh, I want to see movie. So, Kristen, I'm noticing that you're doing some self-care stuff. What do you do for self-care?
So, I really like things that I can multitask with. So, self-care for me is watching a show that I really, really like. And it's okay for you to watch shows. That is self-care. And I like to put masks on. I like to put those really strong foot peel masks. Like, I really like that.
On your face?
No, on my feet. Hence the foot peel masks.
I mean, I wouldn't judge you.
Because, like,
as smooth as your baby's bottom.
yeah. And I mean, just spending time with my husband, you know, I really don't get to do that all that often. And so I really just enjoy cooking with him and like having like a nice quiet night in. But usually it consists of me relaxing and take either like just kind of allowing my mind to quiet, or sometimes I'll try and write poetry. I'm not very good at journaling, and journaling sometimes stresses me out, but I've heard it's very cathartic. But for me, I really just do, when I am allowing myself to be emotionally available like that, I do like to write poetry as well.
Nice.
Yeah. What does it look like for you, Sabrina?
Thank you for asking, and thank you for having me on this NPR interview. I'm just kidding.
Are you the tall girl?
I'm the squat girl.
You look like the football girl right now. I'm telling you. You're telling some like mean football moves. Put something on my face while she talks. I'm sorry.
That's why you didn't want to go next.
No, I want something on my face. Go ahead, Sabrina.
Okay. So, you know, it's funny we're talking about self-care because my best friend Rachel, my mom is FaceTiming me.
Here, answer.
Okay.
We can pause.
Mommy, we're doing the podcast.
Hi.
Would you like to say anything to our listeners?
Like while it's recording?
We're recording right now, yeah.
We're talking about self-care.
What is your advice as a therapist?
I had 2 glasses of champagne. Just ate dinner. So I was unprepared for this.
She's definitely self-care.
That is self-care.
What does this do to my
Is
face?
that the theme? Is that the theme?
Yeah, we're talking about self-care.
Okay.
You're on the mic.
I think self-care is based on the individual. As long as you are moving forward with your goals and putting yourself first every now and then, doesn't matter how that looks like. As long as it's not self-destructive or fueling your adverse coping strategies. Yeah.
My mom's a therapist, if you can't tell. Thank you. Was there a reason you wanted to talk to me?
I just want to call to say I love you.
Oh, self-care.
Keep that-
talking to my mom.
Keep that in the podcast.
I love you too, Mommy. So that was my mommy, and she's a mental health counselor / therapist / superhero. And that was good advice. What's funny is earlier today, my best friend Rachel and I were texting, and she was telling me, we were just both sharing that we were struggling to keep our self-care. So we were trying to be accountable and set a self-care goal. And she had no idea I was recording this today. So I thought that was funny. But self-care looks like 2 different things for me. Sometimes it's self-care to feel good. And sometimes it is self-care to be able to maintain or move forward. Mm-hmm. So when I am in a good place, my house is very clean. When I'm stressed, I think like everyone else in the world, it is not. And so I've learned if I have routine, that is good self-care for me. Like if I don't go to bed until, or like every meal, if I try to get those dishes clean or I reset before I go to bed, that makes a difference. But then sometimes there's the fun self-care, which is like watching Desperate Housewives with Chris or... But yeah, sometimes for me it's playing video games, and sometimes it's what I've literally brought to the table, which is adult coloring books. And so I'm going to share that. Yeah, everybody's kind of brought something to share or talk about. Kristen has brought the beauty side of self-care, and I have brought what I believe to be the fun side of self-care, and I brought some adult coloring books. My favorite is one with swear words in it, and so I was thinking we could all pick a page and describe it.
Well, that's fun. I like that idea.
And then color it as we chat.
See, yeah, self-care for me looks like just shutting off, like everything. I'm talking like phones, like work, even sometimes crochet. It's just reading a book and like shutting everything off. By myself, upstairs in my bed, like nothing. I don't know. That's what self-care normally is for me because I feel like I am a go person. So the best self-care recently has been just shutting everything down and just, taking a step out of the world basically for like an hour or two.
I love that.
I feel like almost as nurturers and empaths, we have to forcefully remove ourselves from situations in order to allow ourselves to have the time to do self-care. And, I have seen removing yourself from Facebook and like texting and all of that. And I know that's been a really nice outlet for you. And I know it's been beneficial for you. So I'm glad to see that's been working for you. Thanks. Yeah. So what do we want to do better in our self-care routine?
I want to put less pressure on myself. Because sometimes I feel I get so wrapped up in the idea of self-care that I have like 100 things out and I'm like, I'm going to practice self-care. And then I get overwhelmed by the options and then I just go to bed.
Yeah. I feel like I have this almost agenda that I set up for self-care. And I get so caught up in like feeling like I need to accomplish all of the things that I've set out to do. And then I've, in return, just burned myself out by doing that. So I maybe simplify what self-care looks like for me. Really just pick 2 things and like focus on that at a time. Yeah.
Holly, which page are you picking?
I was trying to do it so discreetly. I picked one. These are awesome, by the way, Sabrina. I love coloring. That is such anything making too, like making stuff. I feel like is a great self-care. This says it looks like a dog that looks like Phoebe with pointy ears, and it says, "I'm not always a bitch. Just kidding. Go fuck yourself."
Your turn, Kristen.
Let me take a look and see what calls out to me.
And thank you for bringing these stuff, guys. These are awesome. I definitely need to work better with self-care. I don't know. I'm in the summer now for work, which is a huge self-care for me. Like just taking the summer and not working and doing stuff around the house and cultivating friendships and things that I can't do as much when the school year is going on. So I'm quite excited for this summer.
Hell yeah. I picked out one, and it's a castle, and it's like really intricate with like a boat. It kind of looks like the boat from Tangled. It almost looks like Tangled, or like Arendelle from Frozen. But anyway, it's a beautiful castle, and there's like a boat, and it says "fuck that shit," and that's where I'm at.
Nice. Very nice.
Ooh, Kristen, I see you've made a decision.
I have, and I chose something that I kind of want to implement in my life. So it's an alligator. I don't really like alligators, but that's okay. That's not why I picked it. But it says, "You say I'm a bitch like it's a bad thing."
Ooh.
And I feel like I need to be a little bit more assertive and stand up for myself more often than I do. and not be worried about hurting other people by saying that, because it's not really, standing up for yourself isn't a bad thing. I think setting boundaries is a healthy thing. And I think that's more what people consider being bitchy, is when for so long you've gone without setting boundaries, and then when you finally implement them and push back a little bit, or, you know, check them a little bit when they ask you to do things. And yeah, I feel like this is a good thing for me.
100 million zillion %.
Not every self-care is the same. Like, we talked a little bit about this, but everyone has their different versions of self-care. And for me, like, cosmetics and stuff is not always what I choose. But pedicures, though, I definitely agree on that one. But it's just interesting how people can have different things that make them feel calm and, like, relaxed, you know? Like, this coloring, Sabrina, I could sit here all day and do coloring.
Oh, 100%.
Or like a massage. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I
Things
love
like
massages.
that. Like the hand massage you just gave. Yeah. Like those are awesome. I think it's just interesting.
Yeah.
I've never had a massage.
Wow. See, that I will say has been such a game changer in my life. Karen, if you're listening to this, I love you. She's my masseuse. And Chris and I, every month, go to our massages. He sees Jeremy, I see Karen, and it is a beautiful, beautiful thing. And my body can feel the difference of when I've skipped a month and when I have stuck with my routine.
I've only had a 15-minute one. It was really nice, though, which is why I want to go and do an actual hour one.
Might I suggest a 90-minute one?
That sounds nice.
If you need a masseuse, Karen at Calming Hands Massage. Karen, girl, this is for you. Free promo. She's so funny. We always have the best freaking conversations. I love her so much. And, like, I've been seeing her now almost, like, 7 years, I think. So she's awesome. Go see Karen.
That's cool. Aw.
She'll be like, oh, my God. How do you know Sabrina? And you'll be like, I listened to her podcast. And she'll be like, wow. Just like that. That'll be the whole conversation. You're welcome. I already had it for you.
And then I'll fall asleep on the table. I would probably fall asleep, honestly. So next question. How does self-care relate to friendship? We started a little bit like with that, but have you guys ever had a specific example when you felt like self-care helped, or you needed more self-care, or, you know, somehow it was tied up in your friendships with other people?
I do, and it's about you, Holly.
What?
Something, well, really with all of us, but the example that comes is you, because there was a time that we were going to meet up, and I gave you an option because I was like, hey, girl, do you want to meet up, or do you need a gap instead?
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's really important in self-care is communication. You really can't have an optimum friendship without communication anyway. But it's like, you just need to be able to have honest conversation with your friend and say, you know what, dude, I've had kind of a rough day, or honestly, this is going to be the only gap I have this week, and I just need a fucking nap or sit in front of my Netflix with some Oreos and just live my life today.
Yeah, I remember that because I was having a really busy day. Like, I think I had 3 or 4 things that day. I don't remember what they were, but that was exactly it. It was like you gave me the option of having a gap, and I wouldn't have taken it if you hadn't have been like, hey, unless you need a gap, like, that's okay too. So great job with that. Thank you for that. I am inspired by that. I want to do that for more people, like giving that option of what's better for you right now. I'd love to see you, but also if you need that space, that's okay too. Yeah. And kudos for, like, and I don't know how you responded to it in the moment, but from what I understood, like, you didn't think I was trying to get away from hanging out with you. I was just being honest with you. I was like, yeah, actually, I could really use this, like, hour and a half.
No, I just sobbed for an hour. No, I'm kidding. No, that was a joke.
And Holly never asks again.
No. I think that's a big thing is don't say something unless you mean it.
Yep.
So, like, I could handle her saying no, that she needed the gap because I was honestly asking her that. Yeah. I wasn't just doing the quote unquote nice thing. And I think sometimes people give inauthentic communication under the guise of trying to be people pleasers, whereas, like, we could have deeper relationships if we mean what we say. And that's not at all to come off accusatory. That really is advice, because there was a long time in my life that I would go through the pleasantries of things. Whereas, like, the reality is we have to live lives in a way that makes sense for ourselves. And whether it's your religion or your morality or whatever it is that speaks to you, live it as authentically as you can, because you won't get this time back. To my knowledge, I mean, we could all be reincarnated and I have no idea. And if so, whoop, whoop. But,
Yay! Take two.
awesome. But to my knowledge, that's not the case at this time. You know, some people tell you to live to be happy, but I just don't think that's always possible. But you can live authentically, and you can live in an honest way that doesn't just honor other people, but honors you. And you deserve that.
Yeah, and I think just being transparent with the people who are close in your life, it's totally okay for you to be your own advocate and say, I need this. And it's, you know, if you do have to have that conversation where it's like the other person doesn't understand that you need to put yourself first for a little bit, then, you know, it's okay to try and explain that. Like, I hope that you guys are in that position where you can talk and advocate for yourself and, you know, they'll understand. I know that can kind of be scary, standing up for yourself and saying, like, I just need a break. And it's not that I don't love you. It's not about that. I just feel like I have neglected myself. I feel overwhelmed. I think being honest with that and talking and, you know, having those people who can be like, okay, that's totally cool. Do you need me to pick up a little bit more during this time? Mm-hmm. And that is really nice to have. I know I have that with you guys. Oh, so, yeah. You know, I do appreciate that. But please, please make sure you're taking care of yourself and respecting yourself and learning to be okay with giving yourself that time. Because I think a lot of it is, it's scary to ask for things for yourself. Mm-hmm. It is scary to put yourself first. And oftentimes you see so much people get burnt out because they're not saying no, because they're scared of disappointing people. And like Sabrina said, you know, like, life is here. We have to live life. And I don't know, I feel like I've said this before multiple times, but just be gracious with yourself. Life is really hard. You know, working jobs to provide for yourself is a lot of work. And then on top of that, you know, having a house or having a home that you need to take care of, having people in your life that you need to be there for, you know, oftentimes we put ourselves last when we just need to kind of reprioritize ourselves. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think sometimes we forget that we are consistently surviving world-altering events. And I know there have been wars in other generations and things like that. I don't want to discredit any past generations, but I know I saw this meme that was like, I'm getting a little tired of living through historical events.
Yes.
And it's so true. But I think part of the reason we named this podcast Solving the Friendemic is in direct correlation with the global pandemic that we are still in and navigating that, because, and we've talked about this before, but just navigating a pandemic, hell, not even thinking of the friendship aspect, just being an adult in a global pandemic is hard. And when you don't practice the necessary self-care to be able to sustain, that's a lot of autopilot and running on fumes. That's not only not fair to those around you, but it's not fair to yourself. But even if we take ourselves out of the equation, because I know we've talked a lot about that, just speaking about the people around us, if you're one of those kinds of people, and I'm one of these kinds of people that sometimes I can't listen to reason as far as like, oh, it's good for me, right? Yeah, sometimes I've got to think about the other people involved. If I'm not taking care of myself, I can't take care of other people. Mm-hmm. I can't pour from an empty pitcher. And everybody fills their pitchers in different ways at different times. And there's different seasons for things. And that's kind of what I was talking about earlier is sometimes filling that pitcher looks like playing Genshin Impact with my family. I love it when I do and the memories that I build. But sometimes it's just a solitaire activity. It's coloring, or it's listening to a true crime podcast with a friend. It looks different each way because it's filling a different need and it's filling a different ingredient of that pitcher. Because at the end of the day, you may end up with lemonade, but if you're just filling it with lemons and no water and no sugar, that's going to be some shitty lemonade. So you just kind of have to evaluate, where are you in your journey right now and what is helpful to you? And be damned if you're making choices of self-care only based on others. Because if you don't need that group self-care right now and that's not helpful for you, you can be authentic with your friend and say, I love you and I appreciate you for like showing up in my life and being here, but that's not how I need support right now. And I know last episode we spoke a little bit about standing in the gap. Sometimes if we're able, we can just be honest. I can turn to Holly and be like, girl, thank you for offering to bring me a casserole. I don't need a casserole right now. What I could use is some toilet paper. So if you wanna support me in a way that is tangible right now, or even like, you know what, Holly, I love you. Thank you for calling me. I'm just not up to talk, but I'd love to see your favorite meme right now. Mm-hmm. And then we're interacting. Or it's okay to turn your phone off. And I don't know if you need permission for that, but I'm going to give you permission. I wouldn't turn it off for 40 days because people are going to send the cops to your house. They're going to think you're dead. But if you need to turn it off, or if you need to put an automatic sender that's like, I am taking some time, you do that, man. You take some time. You breathe your air. You take a meditative walk. You do a little bit of yoga. You take that damn nap you deserve. You watch your favorite TV show and you live your best life, because life is worth living.
So I have a question. Do you feel like because of the pandemic and because we had to self-isolate, because we were quarantined, do you feel like during that time you were kind of forced to find ways to take care of yourself? Do you feel like that almost like was a catalyst for you to start implementing more self-care habits? Or did you find like a routine that worked better for you during that time?
Clarifying question. Were you guys at home or were you already living on your own during the pandemic?
Yeah, we were in Waterside at that point. So yeah, me and Philip were living together.
And me and Michael, we were in the townhome, and then my parents had to move in with us. But shortly after, we were able to find a place. But yeah.
Yeah, I think that plays a big role too, is like, how were you quarantining? Were you quarantining with 1 to 2 people, or were you quarantining with like 7 people? And not that it devalues anything. I was just curious how, I couldn't remember how everybody was quarantining. I was so lucky because my parents let Chris stay with us. And Chris is my now husband, but at the time we were engaged, because my mom is immunocompromised, and there was no way that we were going to be able to see each other if he hadn't stayed with me, just because we had to be able to control the factors of what was coming into the house. And that's the hard thing, is like, everybody had to make really hard decisions, no matter where they were on the spectrum, to decide what to do, what was best for their family. And I was just so lucky that my parents, and that his mom was so kind. And I know that was a really hard time for my family, because we quarantined, which was awesome. That was a fun time. But then Chris and I found our dream home, and APR and all that kind of stuff was really good. And it was right before the housing boom hit, that everybody was paying crazy things. Kind of got in right at the beginning. And so we got courthouse married during the pandemic in May. And it completely set our family like on their heads. They were not expecting that. They were not expecting us to get married during the pandemic. They were not expecting us to buy a house and move out. That was a lot. But the way that I practiced self-care was very different of where I was in my environment, right? Like when I was with my family, self-care looked like 2 things. It looked like hanging out with my family and watching movies and laughing, but also taking some time with like my partner to watch Love Island. We got into trashy reality TV. Yeah, I found a lot of different interests that I don't think I would have found if not for the pandemic, versus when we were on our own. I think that's when I started looking for individual kind of self-care. And I think part of that is being from a collectivist culture versus on my own. So that's a very long answer to your question.
I know for me, I definitely started to do more reading. I read a ton in quarantine. Like, I read more than I think I ever have. I did more exercise than I ever have. I did things like I danced to Fitness Marshall on YouTube, who is so fun.
Love him.
So fun, yes. And so I did lots of that. We did lots of walking, lots of playing video games. You know, I don't really play video games as much anymore. I like watching video games though. But yeah, I think I found some different things that I didn't think I was going to enjoy. But I don't know, it was hard with teaching and doing virtual teaching. It was like I had my job, my marriage, and any type of self-care all in the same place. Mm-hmm. And so that got kind of hard because I had to find a way to separate it. And, you know, we had a 2-bedroom apartment. So Philip had an office and I used the kitchen table so I could stand up. But that was hard. That was a hard thing for self-care because I had to really find a way to shut off. And I had to make my own schedule, basically, to make sure I had time to do the things I really wanted to do. But yeah, I'd say it did still help, though. It got me into some routines that I liked.
You also started some group activities, if I'm not mistaken. Like, you had made that book club on Facebook, and you really were the friend in my life that was kind of pushing, like, let's do Animal Crossing, not play dates. I don't know why I call it
It's
that.
like a play date, though. It's like adult play dates. I was like, Sabrina, please play with me.
And that's how you met my brother first, was
Yeah,
virtually.
it was virtual. Yeah. Well, Philip and I are extreme extroverts, too. So by, like, 3 or 4 days, we were like, we want to, you know, do something. Mm-hmm. And then once we realized we were in for the long haul after 2 weeks to a month, you know, we started, you know, playing RPGs online, and, you know, Among Us got really big, and Animal Crossing and all that kind of stuff. We got really big into those types of things. But
do you guys think Animal Crossing would have been as big as it was, like this specific game, if not for the pandemic?
Absolutely not. I do not think it would have been that big. I think it was the perfect
Catalyst.
yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, it was also an easy game, so everyone could play it. You know, anyone could play it.
Well, y'all know I am not a good gamer. I am very new to it, and so in order to have like something to just where I can dink around and have literally no skills, except I will say I am really good at fishing.
And Jackbox. I think you're pretty good at Jackbox.
Yes and no. It depends on what. Like the haunted house one, I am not good at.
Is that the one you have to flirt?
No.
Is it the one
It's
with
where
the
you're-
devils?
Where you're about
the
to
trivia.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Murder Party.
Yeah, I
That's
feel
my
like
favorite.
part of it was I just didn't understand how exactly to play. But yeah, I was like the first one dead. But yeah, Jackbox was a lot of fun too, and I'm kind of glad it made such a resurgence. You know, you guys know we like to play games, and that's been a big part of our podcast. But yeah, I'm really enjoying coloring. I'm just kind of like it's very meditative.
Yes.
It's also making it easier to talk. I don't know why, but
I don't
it
know.
feels
I
like it
feel
is.
like I'm getting distracted
Oh.
because like I'm so detail focused. Like I just kind of like shut off. But I'm really listening to you guys. I feel like I'm paying attention to you guys a lot more. But me participating in the conversation is a little bit more difficult for me.
Yeah.
But that's just how my brain works.
Kristen is letting us know this is our last coloring episode.
Oh, I want
Well,
more.
I do love coloring.
It's fun.
All right, so looking at our time too, what's our prescription?
But I don't think Kristen shared.
Oh, Kristen.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
She should share her self-care.
Go for it.
She's the time marshal.
Fuck you, Kristen.
It's okay.
Not having time.
It's okay. I spilt wine, and that's why we can't talk. So for me personally, I was still working at the hospital. I was still in school. So like Holly, I really didn't have a separate space. And my parents were in Jamaica. And my dad is a diplomat and, well, was a diplomat. He's now retired. And on the small island of Jamaica, there just wasn't enough equipment, medical equipment, and both of my parents were high risk. And so the government said, hey, let's hope this blows over soon. So go home to your families since you're high risk. And so it was right after my husband and I got married. We had been married all of a week. And then they moved in with us.
I remember that. That was so crazy.
And then my brother, who was in school in England at the University of Hertfordshire. So if we have any people in England who listen to us, this would be really cool if you could tell me if I pronounced it right or not. But he also moved in with us. So it was very cramped, very tight. And, you know, because of the pandemic and me working in the medical field, I feel like I was dealing a lot emotionally with patients. Mm-hmm. And so my self-care for a while I thought was like crying in the shower, which is okay. If you need to cry, that is totally fine. Honestly, I think crying and letting out that kind of emotion is very cathartic and helpful. But I do feel, just because of how labor intensive my job was, I did gravitate towards more relaxing activities. Mm-hmm. But walking was also a really nice way for me to clear my head and just kind of separate myself from home. Mm-hmm. I think being around people who just were so worried about me was stressful as well. So I really just did try to like get myself out of the environment. But yeah, I feel like because I was at home and because of the nature of like my job now, which is a cosmetologist, I did start doing more self-care, like more skin routine, finding small things that I can implement daily into my routine. Mm-hmm. And I know this is like really stupid, but making sure I'm washing my face every day.
Yeah, no, that's not stupid.
That's
like,
a big thing, yeah.
That's been really good. And making sure that I'm drinking the amount of water that I need to drink.
That is an incredible point. My therapist is actually the one who was like, your mood can change severely if you don't get your minimum amount of water. And I have seen such a difference since I've been intentional with water. So I second and quadruple that.
So please hydrate. You gotta hydrate in order to gyrate. So,
you know, if you want to be a hoe, why not be an H2 hoe?
That's right. That's right.
Speaking of, I'm going to open my water.
That's right.
Yeah. But I've really enjoyed the self-care that we've been doing tonight with each other. But, you know, find things that you can do with other people that you find a way to be relaxing. If it is going out for pedicures, that's awesome. If it's for manicures, awesome. If you and your bestie want to go get a couples massage because that's a really nice discount, go do that. If it's a facial, go do that. If it's making sure you're getting your vitamin D and walking outside and actually like separating yourself from the indoors and grounding yourself and recentering yourself. If it's yoga, if it's meditation, if it's journaling, you know, that's really awesome. But take the small things that allow you to refill your cup and replenish yourself. Yeah.
Okay, Holly, take it away.
Yeah, what's your prescription?
Prescription. Okay, my prescription for the week with self-care is to eat in a way that nourishes your body. And I say that because I need that, because I tend to eat things that hurt my body because they taste good. But I shouldn't do that as much as I do that. So eating things that nourish your body doesn't always have to be fruits and vegetables. If it's, hey, I've been on a really strict diet, or I've been really doing well today, or I've had a really stressful day, maybe something sweet is what nourishes your body. I don't know. But think about how food can be self-care as well. If that's cooking for yourself one night when you've been out, like, you know, when you've been eating out for the last couple nights, if that's, cooking for a friend who is going through a hard time, asking him if that's something that they need, think of food as self-care. That would be my prescription.
I think that's a really good one, and one that I personally think I should implement.
Please keep in mind, though, to always speak to your doctor or your nutritionist of any kind of food changes that you make.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Sabrina?
Oh, thank you for asking, Kristen.
Of course, I'll always ask you.
My self-care advice would be, you don't always have to spend money to practice self-care. I think sometimes we get wrapped up in the rigmarole of it all, right? Like we think, if I don't have this face mask, or if I don't have this bath bomb, or if I don't go to Lush, or if I don't do this, then I'm not really practicing self-care. But it's really not about what you do. It's about how it makes you feel and how it fills you. Mm-hmm. If you haven't gotten anything else, we hope that you get that tonight, right? Mm-hmm. And so, like I said, for me, sometimes it's hanging out with my bestie Rachel, and we're listening to true crime podcasts on Spotify while playing The Sims. And sometimes it's napping, and napping is free. So just do something that brings you joy. It doesn't matter how much money you spent, and it doesn't matter if it's Instagram worthy. But hell, if you make a nice bubble bath and you want to post a picture of it, no shame in your Instagram game. Mm-hmm. All right, paging Dr. Buck. What are you going to give us tonight?
Well, I thought I kind of went on a little spiel, but let me go ahead and pop in a specific prescription.
We want it wrapped up in a bow.
Okay.
Sent to CVS Pharmacy. That's right.
Okay. With a super long receipt.
And the serial killer handwriting.
Okay. I think for this week, maybe make a specific, set out a specific day this week where you are just going to be very intentional with yourself. Be very kind to yourself. And just really think about what you have on your plate and what are things that you can do to make it a little easier on yourself. So if you need to reprioritize certain things, I think that's what you should do.
I like that.
Yeah.
No is not a bad word. It's an empowering word.
Yes. And like my crocodile says, or alligator, I can't tell because of the teeth. I think it's an alligator. You say I'm a bitch like it's a bad thing. It's okay to say no. But anyways, we love you guys so much, and we just hope you have a great week.
You've been listening to Solving the Friendemic with your host, Sabrina,
Kristen,
and Holly.
Peace, love, and light.
Bye.
Hasta la pasta, y'all.
Welcome to the outtakes, my darlings.
We are podcasters.
But not professionals.
No, you're not professionals, but we are podcasters. It's not a hand job, Kristen.
I did a job on your hands.
Jeez Louise. Every time you say poison, I think of the song Poison. And poison. Poison. And so I think there needs to be a mashup of Goodbye Earl and Poison. Yep. And it's like, and then we went to Poison. And everybody starts dancing. I see it. You guys see it. Everybody should see it.
Yep. Yeah.
Can I blow my nose?
No. You bitch. Get out of my fucking house. How dare you blow your nose in my kitchen.
I wanted you to know when, so you wouldn't be talking at the same time.
I'm just
so you
kidding.
can successfully edit this out gracefully.
Gracefully.
Anyway.
I'm opening my water.
No, you bitch.
I'll get out of my own house. We're not leaving here till 10.
Nope, not at all.
Well, no, I was curious what that means. Like, your mom looks like a reptilian lover. Like, that just sounds very V for Vendetta. Because they're reptile people.
that what that whole movie was about?
Wait, no. Because
V for Vendetta is a very different thing.
What am I thinking of? Is it just called V?
I've never
Oh my
seen it.
god. Is this the woman who plays Snow White in you know what I'm talking about, Once Upon a Time?
Kristen Stewart? Wait.
Kristen Stewart doesn't play Snow White.
Wait, are you talking about the show Once Upon a Time, or are you talking about actually like Once Upon a Time as an expression of time?
She's talking about the show.
The show.
Okay. Okay. So the girl
So
with
does
the
Kristen Stewart play you in all your flashbacks when you say Once Upon a Time, or
well, no, she was Snow White.
Yeah, in The Huntsman.
what? What?
Isn't that what it's called?
Yes, I'm not insane. Hold on.
She put slugs on her fucking eyes.
They look like slugs. You look like you're about to tackle me on the football field. Sorry, as Sabrina's saying this, I took the green slugs off my face because it was burning. I don't know why I'm like this, Kristen. I'm sorry.
She's got sensitive skin and she cannot lie. That is her alibi when someone gets murdered.
I got slugs on my face. Goodbye.